City News on TV Rotorua is proudly brought to you by Rotorua Central.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Tonight on City News, final plans and construction details are being confirmed for the inner city's next transformation, the Green Corridor. The comedy cabaret is proving a hit with local theatre goers. Registrations are open for the Kaharoa School Trolley Derby. Final plans and construction details are being confirmed for the inner city's next transformation, the development of the Green Corridor. Funding has been approved for the shared pedestrian and cycleway through the central city. Rotorua Lakes Councillor and Inner City Revitalisation Lead Karen Hunt says the Green Corridor will link the government gardens to Kurau Park. She says it's a dedicated space for pedestrians and cyclists and roller skaters and skateboarders to travel through the city.
Essentially, a green corridor links two green spaces at its simplest. And the two green spaces we're linking are Kurau Park and Government Gardens, both iconic destinations in their own right. And why we're linking them is that we have a number of cycle routes that come to the edge of our city. But we have no way for those people to safely get into, across or through the city. So it's not only about safety, but it's about the destination and the journey. Green spaces create a sense of calm for people.
Work on the Green Corridor is expected to start in March. Waiariki MP and Maori Development and Whanaora Minister Te Uraroa Flavel says he's looking forward to the challenges ahead in 2015. He says his portfolios and responsibilities in government will keep him active on the national level, with many of his ideas and implementations directly benefiting the people of Waiariki.
Now, with all your ministerial roles and also your MP role, are we going to see more of you or are we going to see less of you?
Well, I'll have to be clear and say that probably likely to be less, I think, simply because of the national profile, but I've made it my business to be able to stay back in the electorate office as often as possible, and not just in Rotorua but also cover the electorate, because the Waiariki electorate by itself is pretty big, ranging from Waihi in the north to East Cape in the east, down to Turangi. So it's not just around an individual town, it's about 8 to 10 towns. So it's always been a big job, and it's probably not going to be easy because of the time commitments, but I've made a commitment with my staff to be able to get back as often as possible. But in the end, I'm pretty fortunate to have great office staff that look after things for me and keep a tab on how things are going and haul me back when needed.
Locals are enjoying the humour and song of the latest production on show at the Blue Baths. The comedy Cabaret 2 has been choreographed by local dancer Ty Royal and is directed by Rima Tewiata. And Miss Tewiata says the show is magic and lives up to its billing as a quack-up.
So tell me, what are the audience in for?
Better than Broadway.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on, elaborate.
Well, they are going to get amazing song, dance and choreography. They're going to get a lot of laughs, heaps of laughs, magic, and a beautiful ensemble company. They work so well together. No one is trying to rise above anybody else. It's 5 people only in the show, and they work as one. You know, it's a beautiful unit.
The comedy cabaret is on until the 20th of February at the Blue Baths. And in sport tonight, 12 clubs and almost 700 rowers competed on Saturday and Sunday at the annual Blue Lake Regatta. The Dewar Challenge Shield, which has been competed for since 1904, is the grand prize at the annual regatta and is one of the oldest trophies in New Zealand sport. Rotorua and Whakatane rowing clubs organise the regatta each year, with the Whakatane club successfully defending their title this year. And registrations are open for the Kaharoa School Trolley Derby. Organised by the Kaharoa School PTA, the Trolley Derby is set to be a fun-filled family event for young and old. Racing categories include dragsters for the 5 to 10-year-olds, speedsters for the 11 to 17-year-olds, and racers for the 18 and over. Each cart will have 3 heats, with the 3 fastest times in each category going through to the final. Plenty of time to get your cart ready though, with racing set down for Sunday the 22nd of March on Kaharoa Road, and that is going to be a lot of fun. To your weather update now. Tonight, fine spells with afternoon showers, light winds and an overnight low of 12. And tomorrow, Wednesday, yes, you guessed it, fine spells again with the chance of a shower. Southerlies developing, a high of 25 and a low of 12. Looking out to Thursday, good news, fine weather again. Southerlies dying out, a high of 24 and a low of 10. In the marine forecast for Lake Rotorua for Wednesday, southwesterlies to 10 knots developing in the morning, waves less than half a metre. Fine spells and the odd shower. Still to come tonight on City News, we're at the museum to find out about the summer exhibitions, as well as catching up with the latest New Zealand falcons to take up residence there. And we find out about an exciting new animation school opening next month.
Welcome to Body in Action, an interactive kids exhibition down here at the Rotorua Museum. Kathy Nichols, Sales and Marketing Coordinator here, is going to take us on a little bit of a journey around the exhibition and tell us what it is we've got here. Kat, can we have a rundown, please?
Sure. We're really excited to have a kids exhibition running all summer this year. It's an exhibition you can bring the kids in and they can go crazy. You don't have to worry about them touching things and things breaking. It is built to last. So it's all about human body, learning about why you should keep active and eating good foods and keeping your mind busy, and it teaches them all of those things while having lots of fun.
Wonderful. So can we go on a tour?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah. This is a giant nose, and kids can come through and find out about smelling your lungs. They can test themselves on how much puff they have, and a few games in here behind. But this is what welcomes you when you walk into the exhibition, so the kids think it's hilarious.
Nice, what a good pick to start the segment.
Yeah. This is about how you use your brain, and so there's a few different puzzles about how you use your brain over here to make a square, to do a maze and magnets, 3D noughts and crosses, and then another butterfly one. But it's really just to have an idea on how your brain works and keep the kids busy as well. This is a great display about how the body works, so the kids can take all the parts apart to see how the heart works and how it links up to different blood vessels, which is really neat. They can play with what the brain and the skull feel like, and there's a great interactive exhibition here about how old medical pieces were used, and so they can try and guess what they were used for. Everyone loves the tray of eyes, which are a bit spooky as well. And then a few of them show other different types of medical instruments that would have been used previously, which look a little bit scary compared to the high-tech stuff we use today.
Okay, so what am I doing here?
So we are now going to test how hard your heart is working by getting it pumping and off it goes. So you've got to keep pumping for a while, start grinding and see if you can go for 2 minutes. So you could just come here instead of going to the gym.
I think so, actually, yeah. Chasing the kids around this exhibition could be working itself.
It could be. So it's all about your heart, how your heart works, and then you can measure your pulse.
And so from
see
this,
if you're all right.
do you go to...
Yep, so we can go and see if, well, we should have taken it before, but now you can put your hands on there and hopefully your pulse, I'll press the arrow, 90. This is a listening device, so you can point it in the area where the headphones, so he could point this to the other side of the room and hear people having little conversations. It's just about amplifying the sound and bringing it to you, so the older sound listening mechanisms.
Or find your children when you lose them in this exhibition.
Very helpful. This section really looks at your senses, so taste, smell, touch and hearing. And this one is a slightly dubious one. You have to see if you can recognise the smells behind here. So you push this down to release a puff of smell. And this one is a lemony smell. It's a bit of a scary one because you never know what you're going to come up with.
Yeah, I just heard one of the children say that the second one is a ooh.
Oh, let's try. Yeah, I've got a bit of a blocked nose today, but it doesn't smell pleasant.
So this is a nice noisy room here, Kathy.
Yeah, great to let the kids come and get loose. We've got a gigantic board game here, so there's dice they can throw and then make their way through, learning about the intestines and your gut as they go. So they come down the slide and then start the game and work all their way to the end. So that's been really popular with the kids. And again, yeah, just a great room for them to come and have fun in.
There's lots of fun happening in this room. So just for our locals that would like to come down and bring their children, I know we haven't shown everything that you have to offer, but there's got to be a reason for them to come down. And how long is this going to be running for, and when does it finish?
So the exhibition is running all summer, which is fantastic, and it will be here till the 15th of March. So it's a really nice long time. You can bring them down more than once, which is great because they'll probably find something new each time. Also, obviously for locals, it's free for locals. Just bring along some ID, like a letter and a driver's license or a library card, and then it's completely free. So it's a great day out. Good if it's raining, but then we've got great air conditioning if it's really hot too, so quite cool as well. So come down, all through the summer.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for the tour.
No problems. Thanks for coming.
The karearea are the fastest New Zealand bird here in our native species. With me we've got Julie Parson, who is dubbed the Bird Lady, only because she is the coordinator for the volunteers that look after the native birds. Now we've just had a couple of karearea released into our urban setting, but they are the second lot of karearea here. Julie, let's talk about these beautiful birds. Tell me about the karearea and why they've been chosen to be released in our urban setting.
Well, they're an endangered bird, and what most people don't understand is that they are more endangered than the kiwi. There are only 40,000 pairs left in New Zealand, so it's pretty special for us to be able to be involved in a project that helps ensure they have a future in New Zealand.
And so what's the process been like for these birds, and how are they doing right now?
Well, they hatched out at wingspan, and when they're about 3 weeks old they were brought to the museum and placed in a hack box up on the roof, which they use as their home. And on the 2nd of January we opened the hack box so that they could venture out, learn to fly for themselves, and now they spend parts of each day flying around bits of the government gardens, learning to stretch their wings and work out how a karearea lives in this world. And so if people come and visit the gardens and the museum early in the morning or at the end of the day, and often round about maybe between 10 and 12, if they look carefully they might find our birds playing around here, learning to be adult birds.
Now let's talk about them, because they are falcons, aren't they? And so how did the first setting of the free of the falcons go? How was that?
It was very, very successful. We had 2 male birds and a female bird here. 2 of them got on very well together, and the other male was sort of the separate bird, but this time we've got 2 females, so we expect that they'll be quite happy together. And of course already in the grounds is Hatupatu from last year's release, and we think he might take on a parenting role with them, so that's going to be really exciting to see whether he's involved in helping feed them and helping to train them to fly. It should be really, really interesting this year. So people who watched the birds last year can see a slightly different perhaps program this year.
Now, was Hatupatu named after the road down here, Hatupatu Drive?
He was named from a trade me auction that Wingspan ran, and I don't know why Hatupatu was chosen, but we think it's a really great name for him because we all know the story of Hatupatu and Kurunaituku, the bird woman, so it's a great name.
And so
He's a real warrior and a hunter.
Nice. So are the birds likely to stick around and make this their permanent home, or what's the likelihood of them making families and going off to roost?
We think that they are likely to stay around because Hatupatu was still here from a release a year ago, and he's definitely made this area part of his boundary, and he visits 3 times every day still, but he's a little bit harder to catch a peek of now than in the past.
Now I understand that it's quite unique to release birds of this nature in an urban setting. Why in suburbia? Why not in the forest?
Well, Wingspan are involved in programs that do release the karaerea out in the rural setting. One of the biggest dangers for karaerea is electrical power lines. So it's quite difficult to release them in an urban centre and make sure that they live. Of course, here we've got no power lines, we've got a lovely open area, and we've got a very distinct building that the karaerea can imprint on from an early age. So even if they get blown a wee way off track, we expect that the towers of the gardens and the colours of the tiles will help bring them back to what's their home at the moment.
And how are they going to get along with all the other birds around here? Because we know that Sulphur Point is renowned for having flocks and flocks and flocks of seagulls. And so how will they interact with those birds?
Yes, well, interesting. The falcon is definitely the top of the food chain. The falcon is the boss around here. And if you ask any of our croquet players, they will tell you what a nuisance the gulls were on the croquet lawn. And of course now they don't have the gulls on the croquet lawn. But the gulls are still around, and in terms of any danger from the falcons only catch and kill what they need for survival. They don't do it as a form of enjoyment or pastime. It's just a feeding practice. So really, given the size of the population, there's not really anything to worry about in this area.
Well, actually, I think that some of the locals might enjoy having a reduction in the gull population.
Very true, and certainly the croquet players would agree with you there.
Lovely. Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
It is a beautiful day on Eruera Street. There we have the TV Rotorua Centre about to become very, very exciting. The New Zealand Animation School is going to be moving in upstairs, and I'm joined now by someone who is... There is no one more passionate about the New Zealand Animation School than Barry Pearce. He began it so many years ago, and now he's bringing it to Rotorua. Kia ora, Barry.
Kia ora.
Well, I'm very good, even more excited to know that we're neighbours. We're going to be neighbours soon.
Pretty soon.
So tell me about what you're bringing down.
Well, we've been doing animation for 25 years. We started working with Warners and Disney's and Peanuts and a whole lot of other local people as well. And then we decided that there's not enough people in New Zealand can do it. So about 19 years ago we decided to start a school, and that's what we've been doing, teaching New Zealanders, many of them who have been very successful overseas and in New Zealand, are doing it now with passion.
So what do you learn at the animation school?
Well, I think the first thing anybody's got to learn if they're going to be successful is to be diligent. And so the first real thing that we look for in people is, are they going to be diligent? Are they going to work and be consistent in their effort? Having the ability to draw is partially necessary, although you will be taught to draw. If you don't know computers, you'll be taught that as well. But the essence is you love to create, you love to draw, and you're diligent. What we find is that people who've been going to school where it's more academic than artistic, they aren't diligent. But the moment they get onto an artistic subject or a creative subject, all of a sudden this great motivation of diligence comes into play, and they really just master the craft very nicely.
Also, I understand that Māori have shown some particular interest and success in this course.
Well, that is one of the reasons we decided to start a school in Rotorua, because we have found that Maori students are equally or better than a lot of other students. So provided they apply themselves, they seem to have instinctively the artistic talent resting in them.
So how old do people have to be to apply to get onto the course?
They have to be at least 16 years old, but anything between 16 and 28. It's a good time to learn, and there are a few problems with accommodation in Auckland, which should be able to be overcome here in Rotorua. So we sort of had a bit of a chat about it, and we thought, well, let's go to Rotorua.
So how many places will there be?
In the first instance, we'll be teaching 2D animation, which is the way I would think 2/3 of the TV shows are produced. It requires computer skills as well. There's 3 programs: there's Flash, Photoshop, and Toon Boom. You're taught them, and along with that, there's we call it the art of emotion. So you have to be able to. Most people's emotions you can see in their walk. So after a while, when you're riding in the bus or whatever you're doing, you notice how people sit, you notice how they stand, and it just becomes a natural thing to observe human nature. And really, animation is human nature in creatures.
I've never looked at it like that before. I'm going to be looking at every single person that walks past a little bit more critically now. Tell me about what you're excited most about bringing this to Rotorua. Because how many years has it been in the idea stage?
Well, really, it was thought about by a person I met while running a trust, and he said to me, "Look, I think animation college here would be just so amazing." So we got together with a few other people like Dame Uratana and the Mayor and a few other folk who had Rotorua's interest at heart, and they all agreed, let's make a little subcommittee, see if we can get this to move. That was about 6 months ago.
So a very exciting development happening here in Rotorua. The New Zealand Animation College is on its way to town. Barry, how can people find out more information?
By going to the webpage, Animation College, or by email barry@animationcollege.co.nz or Gene, Gene, @animationcollege.co.nz.
Wonderful, very exciting. Can't wait for it to open.
And that was Barry Pearce, founder of the Animation College, talking with Kiri Danielle. And remember, if you have a news item, we'd love to hear from you. Call the station on 07 3488 984, or of course you can email us at news@tvrotorua.co.nz. Thanks for having us at your place. From all the team here at City News, from Rotorua.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
City News on TV Rotorua was proudly brought to you by Rotorua Central.